This live stream, I decided it's impromptu. I just had to do it. I got up this morning. I went out to like feed my cats, feed the dog, get a drink of water. Um, I've got about an hour before I'm going to do anything. I'm going to sit here and look. I don't even have anything in this except water. It's hot water. And PJ starts um, telling me different things that are on the news. And I always ask, like, what's the weather going to be? And he tells me. But then he starts hitting me, hitting me with these, like, next moves that Trump's doing. And the first one was he's deporting people on military planes. Makes sense. Military costs, low costs, way less money than putting them all on a private jet, public transportation. Sorry, my hands are cold. That's why I was holding my cup. Hey, there's NWA Prepper. Good morning, brother. So he describes to me that these people being deported are in arm shackles and leg shackles, and they've got a connection to something around their waist. I said, well, who's being deported like that? And he goes, I don't know, but if you're being deported by the U.S. government, you've broken our law, and so they're going to treat you like a criminal. And I thought, wow, that's kind of heavy duty, but that's true. Like, if you're here illegally, then you have broken our law, and you are not supposed to be here, and he's not going to send you home on first class ticket back to your home. So I thought, wow, that's immediate. Like, he's been in the office, 2 days, 3 days, and he's already deporting the illegals, which is fantastic. We don't need any more. Colleen Rodimer, I don't feel about it, right? Especially when you look at the news sensationalized yesterday, said there's been murders in New York and dismemberment, like finding body parts in different parts of New York City. I don't think we had that 10 years ago. I don't know, but it just seems like either the news is finding it, more exciting to report stuff like that, or things are happening because we have so many illegals in our country. And if you think about it, what's more rational? What makes more sense? Good morning, Aid. Shalom. So that's the first bit of news he tells me, and I'm like, wow, Trump, you're really on it. Then what was the second thing you told me? Joe, you don't remember the second one? I'm trying to think. So there was something else he told me about what Trump was doing. Oh, yeah. Trump and Melania. So this is how you know you've got a presidential couple, is when she goes with him to things that he's doing. And he is going to, moderator, you can answer Sunil if you don't mind. You don't have to nuke her, but just, you can tell her that, we're in the Ozarks or whatever. I don't want to type it. That they're going to North Carolina. And right there, smack, all those people are like, Trump's gonna do this, I have to shave my head. There are women shaving their head over the fact that Trump became president. This is their passive, resistance. Well, that's the whole point. They aren't going to get dates or whatever, or probably from creepers over that. This is the sign that these people actually care about the American public. Biden and his wife, I don't know if they visited or not, but it didn't do any good. There was like zero aid. Multiple reels, including friends of ours from Refuge Medical, from Grindstone Ministries, saying there's like zero government help down there. Grindstone even posted yesterday on a reel a thank you, with some kind of thank you plaque from a little town where they went, and they reestablished probably a road, but carried in supplies to the town across the broken roads that they had at the early time right after Helene happened. And it's been almost a year, I think. So that was like a year ago that Grindstone did that, and the town gave them a thank you plaque. Okay, so when the reels are saying There's no government help. FEMA's doing nothing. And refuge and other, organizations are down there, and volunteers, Amish guys going down there and building cottages and all that other stuff. When the town gives you a thank you plaque, that's evidence that really happened. Grindstone was down there, and private citizens coming from all over the country are down in North Carolina helping. Where is our federal government? That's what our taxpayer dollars should be supporting, not wars in foreign countries and not weird politics in foreign countries. Sorry, y'all, I just woke up. I'm just so like energized by what I see as correct behavior on the part of our president, not taking military. One of the first things Biden did when he got in office was withdraw all our military out of Afghanistan with no real plan. And I think it was 17 people, soldiers, were killed in that withdrawal, and all our equipment left there. And the first thing Trump and Melania are doing is going to North Carolina. And finally, the news is reporting something getting more attention on North Carolina and Georgia and all the areas affected. I just picked North Carolina because it's, it's representative. From what Colleen says, from what she knows, mule teams are still working in the area. They showed a whole train of mule skinner. That's the guys who were packing mules with all the stuff, carrying stuff into the towns that couldn't be reached by cars or ATVs or anything like that. I mean, so there's Trump and Melania, and they're going to give a report. They're going to show him walking around. He's not just going to fly over and go, oh, wow. He's going to get on the ground and talk to some people. That's a real president. That's a real leader right there. Let me look at your comments real quick. I just really want to know when Whoopi and all her cohorts are leaving so I can throw a party, right? Good morning, Tim. And the Greek Homestead. Good morning, Herb. Let's see. I need to scroll a little bit. There we go. Okay, so, and the third thing that made me want to come on and be like, I don't believe it, and yet I'm so happy about it. Putin said if Trump had been elected last time, there would have been no war, no Ukraine-Russia war. And most of y'all follow me, most of y'all follow my husband. His political analysis about what caused that quote unquote war in Ukraine and the events before that, when Trump was still in office, and there was that stupid news disinformation about a phone call that Trump had with some leader in Ukraine. And it was made such a stink of in the news, and so many people believed, oh yeah, Trump did something really wicked, evil on that phone call. Trump came on and in interviews said, I didn't say anything untoward. They have a very corrupt official in their political makeup over in that country, and Biden's son was meeting with that corrupt politician. The Bidens made a deal with the Ukrainians to send them all of our tax money, billions of dollars, to Ukraine, and Ukraine pushed an issue with Russia that they knew would make Russia angry, and they knew was going to create a war. And it was around that port and the part of Crimea that Russia's always had people living in that are friendly to Russia, and them cutting off water to them. That's what Ukraine did. Things that Russia could not overlook, and they knew they were doing it. And all this money poured into this ridiculous war. Why in the world would any small country pick on Russia unless Russia had done something first? And Russia had done nothing. Russia just sat there with Ukraine on its border, and Ukraine started poking it. I made that comment. Hey, good morning, China doing? I made that comment on my videos. Why are you poking the bear? Why would anybody do that? Why would anybody, same kind of thing, come on our border, little bitty place, and start encroaching across our border? What does that sound like? We have a border.
Landed in North Carolina.
Trump just landed in North Carolina, literally. Air Force One. There you go. I mean, that's instantaneous. I've been on this live stream for what, 7 minutes? And he's already there, y'all. That's a really good sign of a good president, that your vote was correct, that he's actually doing stuff. So he's going to see the ravaged part of his own country. Putin has said he will stop the war. He's ready to talk peace negotiations now that Trump is in office. Because Trump is he's a mature man, he's a successful man, he's someone who knows how to deal with people, likes to get things done. If you watch his show, hey, Suze, thank you to be a channel supporter. Shalom this morning. You get a shout out for that. Wonderful supporter of the channel. Watch the show The Apprentice. What he was doing on that show is teaching people to be responsible and get things done. And then he rewarded them. And if you didn't be responsible and didn't get things done, you left the show. That's like a parent. Hey, C103, good morning. Shalom. So it's just plain. It's as plain as the nose on her face. And here's another thing. No matter what the reels and the TikTok and the social media is saying about Trump, because there's so much disinformation, just like it was when he was president the first time. They are lying. They are saying the most ridiculous things. And I think I commented, I don't think I did a post on it, but I watched a woman talk about Trump is going to fund homeschooling, right? Rio, it means peace. And she was all mad. Well, that means that you're only going to get 90% of your money for your kids because they're going to give money to the homeschoolers. And it's a terrible thing that Trump's doing. She doesn't even understand funding. This was an actress of some sort with all this makeup on, looked a little weird and spouting out this nonsense. The funding for your kids' education and your grandkids' education comes from everybody's property taxes. So if you're a single dude and you own property, you are paying for your local school system, even though you don't even have a child in it. And the homeschooling families are paying with their property taxes to support a public school that their kids aren't even going to. So by giving homeschooling families some, I don't know, refunds or whatever it is he's putting in place, he's actually giving those parents what they're supposed to be getting for their tax money, right? No. Rio, what did LeBron James mean when he said there's no party? I don't care. I don't care. I'm very sorry that, well, I'm not even going to get into that. Anyway, point being, Trump is an actual president and he's a deal maker. That was the thing he did while he was in office the whole time. He was making deals. He was going to foreign countries, talking to them and negotiating with them about trade, about immigration, about political situations. And when you're in a deal and you know the person you're dealing with is going to make that deal sweet for you in some way. Now, maybe you're not going to get initially what you asked for, but you get at least part of it. And then he takes from you part of what we want. And you both shake hands. Shalom, Texas Chopper. That's a pretty good deal. I mean, I was even guilty of absolutism, meaning like I have a firm stance on what I want. And if I don't get it, I'm not doing a deal. But my father-in-law, a very wise man who did 32 years working for our government, helping other people, told me once, like, having this absolute notion of what you absolutely want to have and then not being willing to negotiate is not really realistic. He said the best outcome is where you give a little, the other person gives a little, and then what happens at the end of the end of whatever you're talking about or doing is somewhere in the middle, somewhere where someone gave a little and you gave a little, and somewhere in the middle is the reality. It's very seldom that an extreme right or an extreme left opinion or deal or whatever ends up settled on the extreme right or the extreme left. So I said, okay, so Trump making deals made his presidency very effective. Hey, Mary Jane, welcome to the party. Please, y'all, give me your opinion. I know this, as soon as Biden got in office, we lost money. And I'm not in the stock market or anything like that, but just interest rates, as soon as he got in office, dropped. And so things like interest on your money in the bank and whatever, and then inflation rose. So not only did he steal money from us with our economy, he stole money from us and gave it to Ukraine on a useless, wasteful war that killed lots of Ukrainians and lots of Russians. It's just ridiculous. So those are the three things. He's going to end the war in Russia. And in his presidency, he didn't start a single war either. Trump's one of the only presidents who had no war that he started ongoing. And he was trying to negotiate that Afghanistan peace at the end of his term. And then Biden got to say, oh, well, it's over now, and then create a catastrophe. Hey there, from not the 51st state. Oh, crazy Canuck, you guys are having so much fun with that statement. It's ridiculous. The reels of Canadians going, where did that polar vortex come from? America? Gosh, I wonder where that cold weather came that's freezing and causing snowing in Florida. And then this young man, it was hilarious. He's laughing and he's like, it comes from Canada. We sent it down to you guys. We don't want to be part of your country. Oh, it was so funny. I just love it. What is my take on the Palestinians? Tact was taught by my father to a lost art. You gotta have fun. I know, and Canadians are so normally just mild mannered, don't want to offend anybody.
Hey, Kate,
What?
be careful about being too harsh on that platform. Kick you off.
Yeah, I know.
You
So,
could be being baited there.
yeah, I wasn't, yeah. Um, you look gorgeous, darling. You must be from Britain or something. James, bro. And go on with you. It's early in the morning. I'm always a mess. Um, has your life improved? I mean, has anybody's gas prices gone down? That was one of those things. Australia might. Australia might. What do they say? G'day? G'day? Yeah. I don't suppose you follow a channel called Homestead Oz if you like preppers. There's a fantastic couple, Wayne and Lynn. Sweet people. We have kangers. Of course you do. And there's some really funny reels about Americans seeing the male kangaroos that flex up. They'll be sort of squatting. The kangaroos will sort of squat on the ground, but then for whatever reason, the threat comes and they just flex up with all these muscles and everything. And the Americans are like, yeah, no, mm-mm. And I think it was that, oh my God, it's Wix guy from Florida. His reels are hilarious. And he's like, that's why I'm never going to Australia. Goodness. All right, Aid, can you do something with Rio, please? In our house, I boxed one. Right, that's one of the things Australians do sometimes is box with those things. And then another bunch of reels shows the snakes showing up in Australians' houses from like the ceiling fans and in their boots and all sorts of stuff. Australia is something. It's a laughing hour over there. Thank you, Aid. Yeah. So, there is Mosby's Man, Ozark, Shabbat Shalom, SK. Yes, we are on the crux of a day of rest for all of us, and I've got to get ready. Like I'm doing a live this morning, but normally at this time I'd be like feeding the animals and stuff, and then I have breakfast afterwards. Christy B says, too many spiders and snakes. I don't know that it's too many. It's just that, gosh darn it, Australia's got something poisonous. They've got a poisonous tree. They've got poisonous spiders and snakes. They've got like the saltwater crocs off the coast. They've got the great white sharks. You know, there's some hazards. We have hazards too. I mean, off the coast of Florida is like the most shark attacks in the world recorded. I mean, looking forward to saying hey in a few weeks, back to work for now. Shalom. All right. And Crazy Canucks, they're having changes up there too. When Trump's won the election, Trudeau's like, I'll step down as soon as we find a good leader. You know, his uh, Crazy Canuck and Comfy Goat Soap. She's one of my Canadian followers too. And she was the one posting about all the protesting against Trudeau and the remember when the truckers were like protesting up there, just tons and tons of the truckers. Yeah, Canadians aren't happy with Trudeau. Yes, alligators. Yes, gas prices have gone up, said Colleen. Well, we'll see over the course of his presidency if it goes back down. And in Australia, they have the big trucks to go cross country, because Australia is a very large country with the middle sections kind of deserty, you know, a big desertified, and Ayers Rock, this huge rock out there. And so their long haul truckers, to like their small communities, have sometimes 3 trailers attached. It's like a road train. And that's kind of how Road Warrior, the movie, if you've never seen the original, it's actually, it's like B-rate filming, but there's just a theme. Like, it's a very effective view of a apocalyptic future, and it revolves all around the roads there, because they have all these roads that are very remote and long straightways and everything. It's a great movie. I think I was still in high school when it came out. I think it was around 1980, Road Warrior. And then we're seeing now, you know, version 6. But the original one is it was different from anything that was playing. Like, we had Saturday Night Live or Saturday Night Fever playing in our theaters at the time when Road Warrior came out, and it was just like, whoa, this is totally different from what Land Trains, that's what it's called. Yeah. Brandy Ray, welcome to the channel. Thank you for supporting it. I'm glad you made it to a live too. Chris Bulldog says, I saw the original at a drive-in. I remember coming out of it and just being, wow, that was a heck of a movie. We hate those truckers, and I think it's because why? James, tell us why you hate them. I'm going to guess it's because they drive recklessly and run over anything that's in the road, but I don't know. You can tell us why you hate them. All right, let me see. Utes. Yeah, sport utes. That's what they call their RTVs. They're gosh darn it. That's what we call SUVs, the utes. Yeah. And there's some really good shows on the different
flatbed Toyota pickup trucks.
Well, they call other things utes too, because they've got like those not Camaros. What the heck is that half truck thing that came out in the 70s? It starts with a C. It's not a Camaro. It's a... Come on, y'all. You guys know what I'm talking about. It was like a truck, and yet they made it low to the ground, and it had a low bed, and oh gosh, I can't think of the name. It starts with a C. They have those over there too. I think they use it more. Oh gosh. Now I've lost my train of thought, because you hate those truckers until they don't show up, right? I mean, there's a town, they did a news thing on it because a local guy with a little flavor disappeared, and nobody knows what happened to him. And there's like 12 people in the town, and they need those trucks.
Everybody say El Camino.
Yeah, that's it. The Caminos. That's right. Dano not in the lion's den. Love it. Yeah, the Caminos. They like them over there. They had them in their show. And then um, if you watched something like Road Warrior and what their cars looked like, and then you watch more modern Australian shows now, they've got all kinds of different vehicles, small trucks and bigger trucks, and they're like Land Rovers and everything. Just like our cars have changed. You know, we had all this. Our cars in the 60s and 70s were very distinct, very different styles, and now we've got this homogeneous one, you know, kind of curved, soft edged SUV thing that everybody makes. Ford and Chevy and Honda and GMC, everybody's got one of those little things. Yeah. There's Hunter Seeker. Shlomo, I finally made it to a live stream. Well, welcome to the live stream. The Ranchero was the Ford version and the Camino was the Chevy version. Yes. So to those of you who are coming into live stream now, the whole point of this live stream was 3 things that Trump did this morning that I went just, oh my gosh, shaking my head like, wow, it's happening so fast. He's on the ground in South Carolina right now, I think PJ said. He and Melania went to the devastated areas that Hurricane Helene trashed in the southwest part of our country. He's deporting people on military planes as we speak, and they get shackled. I don't know if he's going to shackle everybody, but the ones that they showed on the news, they were shackled. So that's a good thing. Get the illegals out of the country, especially the criminal element that have been murdering and stealing and just setting fires. I mean, if you've been watching the news, well, I watched reels. They showed news clips from different parts of the country where people in hoodies are setting fires. Anyway, that's a good thing. And Putin said he would end the war. He said if Trump had been elected instead of Biden, there would have been no war. And he's absolutely correct because Putin declared the war reacting to Ukrainian political moves, not the other way around. The Ukrainians kept politically poking Russia in a way that they knew would cause a problem. Okay, so let's see. We don't know what came across the border, what or who, and we don't know what they have planned. And everyone who lives on the border was asking for help, saying they walk through my property every day. They leave trash. They, destroy my fences. They've killed some of my livestock, all that. So Trump mentioned more sticky things, but with nanobot tech, that's not good to hear. I just woke up after 6 hours of sleep. That's not really enough. Trump doesn't play. Hope never to define sedans nowadays all look just the same, right? Everything became this little boxy gray vehicle. Google passed our house 2 weeks ago and now have the update as pics of my daughter going to the mailbox. LOL. Yeah, Google's been taking pictures of everything. Less regulations there on some vehicles. Yeah, so I got excited. I'm excited. I feel like the stuff that we're seeing out of our presidential couple now is how presidents should respond and also represent our country, like with some common sense instead of everybody look over here, everybody look over there. I mean, do you remember right after the Afghanistan disaster, that horrible chemical derailment thing in Ohio that polluted water, and then soon after that, a bunch of butcher slaughterhouses kind of places that are food processing plants also that just went up in flames. I mean, it was just bad news after bad news after bad news. All right. There's Texas Tea. Shalom. And Stray Kitten asked, is a SEAL going to be in charge of FEMA? Yeah. Right, Joe?
What?
A SEAL is going to be in charge of FEMA?
I think so, because I said I could do that.
Yeah. I mean, why not? SEALs get a heck of a lot of training, including disaster training, infrastructure training, security training. Yep. Don't sass, James. Only 5 minutes, okay. Okay, sorry. I knew you were a troll. But you got to talk about your you got to talk about your country, James, for a little while. You'll get bored. You won't come back. Okay. Metal Gear Solid was a video game from 1996, and now in 2025 it may be a reality. Universal Soldier the movie also highlighted this. All right. Laugh out loud. Good morning, Novice Prep. Welcome to the live stream. Yes. Okay, guys, I have to let this poor dog out. I will be right back. He's got to go out. It's his early morning going out, so I'll be right back. Come on. Come on. There we go. Okay. I also played Metal Gear Solid, and I totally agree. Proverbs says so much about dealing with scoffers and fools. That is absolutely true. And, I don't mind trolls who come on my live streams who just make silly statements. You know what I say? You know what I mean? Like, if they're just gobbledygooking, it's fine. It's good for the live streams numbers. But when they start, insulting or offensive, then it's like, all right, you need to go party somewhere else. There is Lone Star Living and Sergeant James. A long time no see. And Sergeant James, you're actually in the middle of a live stream, so you'll be able to hang out and say howdy to everybody. Okay, there is Bruce Filber. Good morning. Texas D don't play. I missed his comment. What did he say, Stray Kitten? You still get that sweet, sweet view time. Exactly, Aid. Like, I'm not gonna, I don't care where you're from. Oh, and also, I just want to say on a live, I guess, yeah, Raw Food Writer, keep your eye on him, Aid. Anyway, I need to do a video thanking my international viewers, because YouTube does show you on your videos in the analysis section if you're having viewers from another country on there. And I've had viewers here, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Like the Greek Homestead. She's a wonderful person. She's been posting these really sweet photos from Greece. There were some people from India who came on some of my videos, and I did some videos on India. I kind of like Indian people, just in general, or East Asian, however they want to be addressed these days, especially the Hindus, because they're not trying to mess around much. Every once in a while, they'll get upset about something, but in general, like, they live their life and their food is delicious, and I love the accent. And so I think they're wonderful to be nationalists. They have a long history of having problems with their border countries and getting into fights and stuff like that. Just, I just like them. Well, when we were overseas and we lived in a country where they were part of the populace, I loved the way they dress. I loved their food. Like, anyway, I won't get into all that. Just know. So, and then I've got the Canadians like Crazy Canuck and Comfy Goat Soap, and then there's some Brits who come on. And I don't know if the international folks want to talk more about prepping, and I don't mind talking about prepping. I think I've even had, maybe Russians once or twice. I just like it. It's cool. I was being silly in Refuge Medical Stream and said, can I get a timeout? And Texas T gave me a hard time out. That's right. You can go, you can time people out for a long time. Wield the banhammer, says PJ. This is Elizabeth.
Nicer than me. I only wield the banhammer. If I've got to get in there, you're not coming back.
Right. He said he only wields the band hammer. If he's coming in there, you're not coming back. But uh, the full quiver is a friend of mine. Yeah, she's someone that I went to a women's retreat with, and she's a sweet, sweet lady. Good for you. Finally got my own YouTube. Excellent. I love your channel name too. Welcome to the live stream. So, wait, Daniel 2:43. Even as iron is not mixed with clay. There you go. All right, Susan Grant. I'm 62, and now that President Trump has returned to the office, I might be able to fulfill my longtime dream of taking FEMA community training. You should. They do a really good search and rescue training, and then there's other government trainings for like being part of a like when they take over a high school and they allow everybody shelter and they have food and water and stuff like that. Shelter manager, I think that's what they call it. They have trainings that you do, notebooks that you request, and then you read them and you answer them and you send it back, and then they give you a certification for different emergency scene jobs that need to be done. It's actually really good training. So I love that. President is doing some good things as usual. Meeting with Billy of the Gates isn't one of them. I'm watching. That's right. I live here in Alberta, oil and gas north. At least you didn't ban me. There are plenty of FEMA courses for free online, said Sergeant James. James, the last time we took them, they were books. I mean, that's how long ago we did CERT training. But they're always there, and they're good, and they're free. I really appreciate these chats. I watch often while I'm on the treadmill. Wow, good for you. We should all be on a treadmill while we're doing this. I have taken 12 courses in the past years for ARES. Go ahead and tell us what that is. I am not used to that four-letter dealio. And I guess I can tell you sort of what I've got planned for my day. And you guys feel free to tell us what you've got planned for your day. I'm going to be washing dishes. And if you've not been on live stream before, you know I'm off grid. So I'll be heating up water and then washing dishes. I have to cook food for Shabbat, for sharing with the congregation, but also for PJ and I, so that I don't need to be cooking tomorrow. And then the daily chores, like I've got the SAP stuff going on. As a matter of fact, let me show you something. I'll be right back. Let that water stop. I'm gonna be the dishwasher. Excuse me. I thought that was water. Come on. And right. Here we go. Shake the camera around. So I made syrup last night with just a little bit, like a quart of sap that I had gathered. And it could be cooked down a little bit more than that to make it thicker, but the smell, it had that marshmallow vibe that my friend liked to talk about last time we did it. That is what our maple syrup is like. And then like a night or two before that, I had put the sap in a little pan, just a small amount, and it had gotten hot and a little bit past boiling. Like the stove got hotter than I knew it was going to be, and so it made a kind of hard candy. Let me show you that. It's like taffy, right? It was like a little crust on the bottom, but it hadn't burned. And I scraped it with something and I put it in here and it solidified like that. And it's super sweet and super tasty. Oh yeah. And it's crunchy too. So good. So yeah, I'm right in the middle of this. I made that little sample for a lady who has not had it before. Um, and I'm going to share that with her. Cleaning house, getting dinner started, feeding animals. Congrats on your syrup. Thank you so much. And what are we thanking you? Wow. Sergeant James is going to be the emergency coordinator for his county. Is that a paid position or is that going to be a volunteer position? That is amazing. So, Susan, I just uploaded a video with our first baby goat of the season on it, and she's adorable. I don't know if you've watched it yet, but if you like watching it, then it's up now. Okay, let's see what's going on. I'm prepping for dinner, lots of mouths to feed. Yes, you do. There's Dusty. Shalom. Billy of the Gates, it's got to screw loose. That's my opinion. Amateur radio emergency services. Wow. Amateur radio emergency services. Wow, I love that. I think I'm going to bring that up tomorrow. I did 3 trips with Samaritan's Purse to Canada. Nice. America Radio Emergency Services. Emergency coordinator for your county. That's great. Yep. It's going to be an experience. It sure is. But I think I did a video on this years ago. If you have the time and the interest and you don't know or you're not happy with how your county stuff goes, get involved. It's going to put you in a position that you can make sure your county is squared away in the way it needs to be, and that you have the kind of preps that your county needs. Obviously, California needs to prep for everything. I mean, they have more natural disasters, and it's like every year. The western part of our country, fires are always and always have been an issue out there because it gets really, really dry and it's heavily forested. There's books on that. I've talked about them in the past. There are books that talk about fires that happened in the late 1800s, that 3 states were on fire and entire small towns were completely wiped off the map. Like, just the fire just rolls over everything in its path. It's horrifying. And so if you're a governor in the states like Nevada and California, Oregon and Idaho and all those western states out there, Wyoming, if you're a governor, you should have a robust fire emergency plan. You should have your state forests and state parks getting rid of all the debris and dead branches and fallen trees all over your properties that the state has control of. You should be urging your residents to not have trees within 30 feet of the house, and to grow fire resistant plants, and to not allow your woods to get all overdone, and allow burning for the fallen trees and everything, because some states will outlaw. They will not allow people who own property with forest on it to burn off the dead stuff to help mitigate fires. And so California, man, and then the mudslides and the earthquakes, and they'll still want to build mansions because the weather is great and the views are beautiful on land that's very unstable, that's had mudslides and been in an earthquake before. And they're like, well, we'll just rebuild. We'll just, do this thing. I want to stay here. I want to live here. They have tsunamis. They have, I said the mudslides, they have flooding. Like, if you're in California and you're the governor, you should be prepping the heck out of your whole state, keeping water for the droughts. Anyway, I could go on and on. I'd love to hear about it in future lives too. Syrup is such an important commodity. I don't know if I'd say that, but it's definitely, I can't have trees on my property that will create the sap and not take advantage of it. I just can't. There's something in me. It's a volunteer position too. All right. I mean, I know some people get paid, but as a volunteer, like you can donate as much or as little of your time as you want, I think. Put it in your tea, it'll be so good. I hadn't even thought about that. Try some not as cooked down. Right. Like this was actually kind of accidental, but I'm pretty sure it is how taffy gets made. The thing is, if you don't cook it down enough, it'll be weak, right? It won't taste quite as good as when you cook it down to the correct, like it's a little bit runny. But the color is pretty good. You can tell how concentrated it was because it looked like water when we started. So I'll check the baby goat too. I'm pretty sure I've got it up. It's called Hey Rachel, Quiet House, good morning. She's a crew member. Thank you for supporting the channel. I haven't seen enough of you lately. What did I call it? This is what makes it all worthwhile, I think is what I titled the video. Can you turn the syrup candy with horehound and make cough candies? I'm sure I could. And you can also make maple sugar if you continue to cook it down. There's a way to do that too, but I haven't done that yet. And I think that would be excellent in tea. I had a friend give me some bags of frozen goat milk. First trying it last night. I was impressed. Yeah. Goat milk is really healthy for you. It's easier for your stomach to digest than cow milk. And it's one of the things that all the people on the planet who live to a very long age, Japanese people and Greek people and so on, mainly drink goat milk. The thing about goat milk is it has to be made cold pretty much as soon as it gets out of the animal. Like you don't want to let goat milk get real warm because basically what it starts doing is turning. Like it'll separate into curds and whey so you can make cheese with it. So you want to keep it nice and cold. So the fact that you got it frozen is excellent. And I'm glad you liked it. Oh, thank you, Miss Full Quiver. It's an easy process. I have videos on it. It's worth doing if you have maple trees or walnut trees. I did try tapping my sycamores, but I got no sap. So I don't know if their sap runs at a different temperature or a different time. If you boil sap down enough, you will get something like sugar. I will buy bags of it when I was in New Hampshire. Yeah, up in our great Northwest is where they do, a lot of the syrup making. Canada, super amount of syrup making, lots of maple trees. But I'm not up in the Northwest, or Northeast. Sorry, it's Northeast. I have maple trees. They give that sap no matter where they are, people. So if you have them, wink, wink. Find out when the sap runs in your area and give it a try. I'm working today. I work for a 96-year young lady. Fridays are spent getting her hair done and shopping after lunch. Aw, that is sweet. Good job. And thank you for being a channel supporter. I saw part of it and will watch the rest later. Okay. In Little House in the Big Woods book, they make maple syrup. Snow candy, pouring maple syrup in a pan of snow. There you go. It would be a delicious dessert. Have to have good to have radio courses. Yeah, I'm intrigued by that. I think canning needs to be taught in schools. My California family made fun of me for canning, then changed their minds recently. My mom taught me canning. My mom canned way back mid 70s. We had a garden and my father had already passed and we were living around my grandfather's town and he would come out and garden this acre at the back part of the property I think we owned. I don't think we rented it. And he was out. Oh my gosh, he was such a good gardener. Hey, you too! Stop it! Stop it! Sorry. He was a really, really good gardener. Look, photo Bob! And so he would have all this produce, and he took a lot of it, but he also gave her what she wanted. And there were fruit trees there too. And so she started making jam. And she also froze things, but she canned things. And I helped her and learned how to do it. And so I know how to can. I haven't done a lot of canning lately because I'm getting a little lazy. It's harder when you're off grid. It really is. But it's great. all the canned goods in the store were canned, y'all. So if you think it's too hard for you, just think about the fact that there's factories full of people who are doing canning, and you're as capable as they are. Time to get off to work. Be well and blessed, America. Thank you, Susan, for swinging by. As I see it, and I watch the earthquakes around the earth, earthquakes are getting larger in California. It's going to be a big hit. There's my prediction, Colleen. Well, we'll see if you're right. I mean, if you say, I predict there'll be earthquakes in California, you've got a probably 75% chance of being right. But to say it's a big one, now that's where it's going to be. We'll see. Fools build their houses upon sand. They sure do. All of us have a house on sand somehow. All of us are sinners. So somewhere in our life, we got a house on sand, whatever it is. Overlooking being out of shape, overlooking unhealthy habits. There's it's true in a very specific sense, but it's also true in a much wider sense. Maybe Cali prepping for the smart city, right? With all the military in California planes, equipment, that fire could have been out in a hot second. The problem with that fire was that wind. A wind going 80 miles an hour is really hard to overcome. It feeds that fire and it makes it very, very effective and very hungry. But what doesn't help, because I mean, it'll destroy a whole house, right? Everything in the house will be on fire. Fire, it's worth a study. If you've never done a study on fire, it's worth learning about how fire operates. And some of the books that talk about fire, and if you just put it in Amazon in their book section, they'll come up. There's a point at which the fire, even the air, catches fire. Like in a house, things in the house will be smoking, but then the air itself gets full of toxic gases and they catch fire. And so when that's happening outside and you've got an 80 mile an hour, 100 mile an hour wind, it causes a firestorm and fire hurricanes. You've seen them, twisters within the storm body. It's its own weather pattern, and it sucks up into the air all available oxygen, and it superheats. So it'll be 2,000 degrees in those things. It is not easy to put that out. You have, ask me how I know all this, y'all. I took firefighting and became a volunteer firefighter in my mid 40s, but also reading those books. Anyway, there's 4 things a fire needs to keep burning. One is fuel, one is heat, one is air, and one is a chemical reaction. And so to kill that fire, you have to kill one of those things. And putting water on it is trying to reduce the heat and to stop the chemical reaction, but it's got to be overwhelming. And it's really hard to overwhelm a very large fire with those winds. And so you've got to deny it the fuel. That's why they do those fire lines in front of it. If we cut down all the trees and dig up the soil so there's nothing there but earth, then the fire burns up to that point, but there's nothing else to burn and it'll burn out. But with the winds, it'll just jump it across. It'll push the fire over a break like that into the next set of woods if they're there, or houses or whatever. So there's a lot going on there. Flash floods after the fire would help. Smart city or rewilding zone. The whole country of Sweden preps in one form or another. Exactly, but they're much smaller. That's why I say a governor or even a county representative. You can be your own little Sweden, Switzerland, like neutral territory. You can be your own little area that preps a lot. Like, welcome to our county. Guess what? We have prepper meetings every Thursday. We have prepper trainings every Monday night at the library. You know, we have our county representative goes to our churches in a big circular motion, you know, to the Baptists this week and next week to the Catholics and the next week to the synagogue and whatever. And he gives a little talk once a year or every 3 months about prepping and what the people should be doing and all that. Like, Shalom from the cubicle. Says sober party. Welcome to the party. Yeah, that's what I was saying at the restaurant. Maple Street biscuits. They had 100% maple syrup. It was watery and didn't taste as good, but was still good. Yeah. There's a hand wave. Good to have goat milk for human babies. I know a lady who had twins who raised them on goat milk. Perfectly fine. I'm surprised it's warm enough for the sap to flow. Sap flows when it's 50-30. 50 during the day, 30 at night. It's different in all parts of the country. I'm able to tap now. People up in the northern states may not tap till May. So that's why I said you got to check for your own area. I didn't know you could make syrup from anything but maple trees, right? Stray kitten, all this stuff, my videos that I talk about these things, I'm putting out information that I learned and didn't know myself. You can tap almost any tree. Almost any tree has sap. Fruit trees have sap. It's just you have to find out for your area, when and also which ones. Birch trees, beech trees give sap and make good syrup. Yeah. Aris often does severe weather coverage. Wow, that's really cool, Edwin. Okay. Thanks for the chat. Things to do. See ya. You can sugar walnuts. I have 3. Stray kitten box shelter trees can be sugared, but I think they are a type of maple. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yes, Mary Jane. It's PJ. Yeah, that's a rare sight. PJ's here. Run. Just kidding. I predict it'll snow in Canada, said Straken. Okay, I'm way behind on these comments. And I'm telling you right now, I am going to stop the live stream in about 10 minutes just because I'm going to go have breakfast and get started on my day. There's Travis Bolt, a channel supporter. Thank you so much, Travis. And Texas D, thank you for supporting the channel. Y'all get a shout out. Planting more fruit trees this year, more grapevines. Getting more in the garden done. That's the plan, says Colleen. Always, right? That's always my plan. I did plant 4 baby trees that I had in my greenhouse. I planted them in November. I think it was 2 mulberry trees. One was a gift. One was dug up. A plum tree that was dug up from another property, a baby tree, and then an apple tree that I bought. And I planted them and hopefully they will live. That's all. If they bear fruit, it's even better. But if they just live, I will be excited. There's something innately satisfying after hours of canning, seeing those beautiful colors on the shelves. Yes, there is. Sean Ryan's interview with Tim Sheehy was informative on the fires. Thank you, Tracy Clark. My son is in Japan due to the LA fires. They've been doing massive firefighter expos for kids over there and offering free classes for families. Great idea. October is Fire Prevention Month. And when I was on the volunteer fire department, I went to the schools one October and, wore my gear and explained about fires to them and how to put them out and so on. Did you see the stories of people who stayed to save their homes? I did, Stray Kitten. And some people's homes didn't burn. Sometimes the fire, for whatever reason, doesn't burn one house, even though all the other ones around burnt to the ground. Now, some people did the prep were like water all over their houses, right? Keep it moist so the fire can't catch. And I think one family managed to save their house that way. It really depends on that wind and how it's blowing and where your house is situated. There's also waterproof paint. Fireproof paint, fire-resistant paint. Because in some fires in Florida, they saw something in baby diapers that didn't allow them to burn, and so they created a paint out of that, and then they painted a doghouse or something, and in the fire, the doghouse didn't burn, and so they started. It's expensive. It's like $150 a gallon, but it is fire-resistant paint. You can do that. You can build your home out of stone, brick. You can have your roof be metal, but sometimes fire gets so hot, metal burns. It liquefies. It, like the metal that's most single wide trailers and double wide trailers are made of in the United States, you have 3 to 7 minutes to get out of the trailer before that thing collapses. So, and Walmart stores, the roof, all that stuff, that's that metal. Those steel beams, they will collapse because the heat melts them. So there's plants you can plant, there's things you can make your house. I mean, if it's 2,000 degrees outside and you're in a stone house, the stone's going to get to 2,000 degrees. It can't just be that. You've got to have an insulation barrier and then probably another something on the inside. Because in some of the fires that happened where there were 3 fires that became one and burnt this several towns, there was a train speeding along some tracks and the train caught fire, but the train was trying to tell people as it traveled in the next towns over, a big fire's coming, you need to get on this train and get out of here right now. It's a very dramatic story. People hid in ponds from the fire, and the fire sucked up all the water in the pond and still killed them, like superheated that water. So it's just the smartest thing to do what you can. And if a big fire's coming, leave. Just get out of the area. That's how you save yourself. Because some of the people who stayed behind to try to save their houses burnt. Okay. Pre-internet, the county extension office was my go-to for great local info. Exactly. That's the county extension's offices are great for that. Skywarn is part of ARIS, but any radio operator can do it. Just take the training, said Sergeant James. It's almost time in West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, tri-state area to tap the trees. See? There you go. Moderators. I think there's at least 1 or 2 in here just hanging out. This spring, I'm going to plant several semi-dwarf fruit trees on the short slope here. There you go. And they will bear fruit even in the first year that you plant them sometimes. And definitely the years after. It's not a lot of fruit, but that's the good thing about semi-dwarf trees is that you get fruit sooner. Usually the trees aren't as big. There's Mark Chase. Shalom. Gotta go. Many blessings. Shalom. Thank you, Colleen. The blame for allowing this tinderbox without traditional fire suppression preps is totally with the voters that dictated who was in charge and the fire condition by propositions. It's all of it. It's all of it, Mark. The governor should be in on that too. Making sure his state's squared away. It's a good idea to put smoke detectors on the outside of the house. Fire start on the porch with a faulty Temu product. You can have fires, people cooking turkeys over those propane burner things will catch fire if you have it like under any kind of roofing, even like on your porch, because hello, because the heat coming off the fire rises and heats up whatever is above it. And if you let it sit there long enough, it will catch whatever is above it on fire. Great in greenhouses, said trying to do it. Yes, it is. All right, it's an hour and 3 minutes. I'm going to get off the live stream now. I appreciate every single one of you who showed up. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for being a channel supporter. To Mark and Texas T and Jesus and all of you all, I appreciate that. I enjoy doing live streams with y'all and this interaction. So, have a great Shabbat tomorrow. Hey, Granite State man, didn't even see you there. Love that you were here. Have a great rest. Get all your prep day stuff done today. Trump is gonna. I think we're gonna have an okay 4 years, and we have the Lord of the universe on our side, so that's always a good thing for us. All right, y'all. Bless you. Shalom. Okay.